Late June. One post appears on LLOUD's official account. No song title. No explanation. Just a moody video. A caption reading, "Coming soon." And absolutely nothing else to go on. Within minutes, it was everywhere. Screenshots. Replies. Quote posts. An entire corner of the internet trying to reverse engineer meaning out of a few seconds of footage and 2 words. Every frame got paused, zoomed, and picked apart for clues that may or may not have even been there. For days, that's all anyone had to work with. So what was LLOUD actually building toward, and why did a single vague teaser send fans into this much of a frenzy? Let's rewind to the beginning. This video walks through the entire teaser-to-reveal journey behind LLOUD Beach Club, the cryptic post that started it, the days of fan speculation that followed, what actually launched, and what it all suggests about Lisa's next chapter. What is LLOUD? Quick context before we get into the teaser itself. LLOUD is Lisa's own company, founded in February 2024 as a platform to house her vision across music, fashion, and entertainment more broadly. It isn't a licensing arrangement where she simply lends her name to someone else's product. It's a company she actually owns and runs the creative direction for. Since then, LLOUD has been the home for her solo music era, including her debut studio album, Alter Ego, a project that made clear she was building something bigger than a typical solo record, blending music with a broader creative identity. Alongside the music, LLOUD has steadily expanded into fashion collaborations, exclusive collections, and pop-up experiences in multiple countries, each one adding another layer to what the company represents publicly. It's a company that treats Lisa's various projects, music, fashion, lifestyle, as parts of one connected identity, rather than separate ventures with nothing to do with each other. That pattern matters for understanding what happened next. LLOUD teasing something new wasn't unprecedented. The company had already built a track record of turning announcements into genuine events. What made this particular tease stand out was just how little information came with it, even by LLOUD's own standards. The post that started it all. Here's what actually happened. On June 29th, LLOUD's official account posted a short video accompanied by several visuals, captioned simply with a "coming soon" message. No product name, no date, no further context attached. The tone of the teaser was reportedly moody and deliberately cinematic, carefully produced enough that it read less like a casual social post and more like the opening beat of something bigger. That kind of polish is exactly what gets a fan base's attention immediately. Nothing about it looked thrown together, which signaled right away that whatever was coming had real intention behind it. For a company that had already trained its audience to expect meaning behind every visual choice, that alone was enough to set off alarm bells in the best possible way. Within a short window of the post going up, reaction had already spread well beyond LLOUD's own comment section, into fan forums, quote posts, and screenshots being passed around across platforms. For an account with an established history of turning teasers into real moments, that immediate scramble to interpret the post wasn't surprising. It was almost expected. What's notable, looking back, is how little LLOUD actually had to do at this stage to generate momentum. A single video, a 2-word caption, and a fan base primed to treat any ambiguity as an invitation to investigate. That combination did most of the early work on its own, well before any official confirmation of what was actually being teased. That's a genuinely efficient piece of marketing, when you think about it. No press release, no paid rollout, just a single well-timed post handed to an audience that was already primed to run with it. Days of speculation, how fans reacted. What followed was days of pure fandom detective work. Because the teaser gave almost nothing away, theories multiplied fast. A significant number of fans reportedly assumed, at least initially, that the post was building toward new music, a single, a music video, maybe even a surprise release. Given LLOUD's primary identity as the home of Lisa's solo music career, the cinematic, slightly mysterious tone of the video only fed that theory further in the first few minutes after it went up. That theory didn't last long, though. On July 1st, a follow-up post arrived with considerably more information, a name, LLOUD Beach Club, along with an exact launch date and time. That single post reshaped the entire conversation, shifting fan energy away from, "What is this?" and toward, "What exactly is this going to include?" From there, speculation got more specific. Fans pored over the limited visuals for clues about aesthetic direction, debated what a beach club concept from LLOUD might actually look like, and generally treated the wait for launch day the way a fandom treats any major countdown, with genuine excitement, but also with real analytical energy, picking apart every available detail for hints. Some tried piecing together color palettes from the teaser footage. Others focused on the wording of each new caption, looking for any hint of what categories of products might be involved. It's worth pointing out how much of this was organic. Nobody at LLOUD needed to manufacture excitement artificially. A fan base this engaged did that work on its own, simply by having almost nothing to go on and choosing to fill that gap with enthusiasm rather than indifference. By the time launch day actually arrived, the anticipation had built almost entirely through fan energy rather than paid promotion. There was also a real sense of community in how the speculation played out. Fans compared notes across time zones, translated theories between languages for international followers, and generally turned a single ambiguous teaser into a genuinely collaborative, days-long guessing game, the kind of shared experience that, win or lose on any individual theory, tends to strengthen a fanbase's connection to both the artist and each other. Even fans who guessed wrong seemed to enjoy the process as much as the eventual answer. The reveal: LLOUD Beach Club goes live. Then, right on schedule, July 5th at 10 a.m. Korea time, July 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific. LLOUD Beach Club went live. What launched was a merchandise collection built around a vibrant summer club aesthetic, leaning into beach, sun, and warm weather lifestyle imagery, positioned as the latest addition to what LLOUD has been calling its ongoing era. Reporting on the collection pointed to items like t-shirts, caps, and accessories as central pieces, though the full scope of everything included wasn't exhaustively detailed at launch. Visually, it marked a clear departure from the darker, more high-fashion tone often associated with Lisa's luxury brand work. This was intentionally lighter, more playful, and built around a mood rather than tied to any single music release. That distinction matters. A beach club aesthetic doesn't need an album cycle to make sense. It can exist and expand entirely on its own terms in future seasons, independent of whatever else is happening in her music career at the time. It's also worth being precise about scope here. This was launched specifically as a merchandise collection, not announced as an entirely new standalone company or product category. That said, the polish of the rollout and the standalone branding gave plenty of fans and commentators reason to read this as more than a simple seasonal drop. A signal, intentional or not, that LLOUD is thinking about lifestyle branding as a genuine long-term direction rather than a one-off experiment. Even the launch mechanics reflected that intentionality, a specific, coordinated global time, rather than a quiet, unannounced restock. Every part of how this went live suggested a team treating a merchandise drop with the same seriousness as a proper release. Fans in different time zones reportedly coordinated around the exact launch moment, the same way they would for a new single, refreshing pages and comparing notes as the collection actually went live. For a company built on Lisa's music career, choosing to give a clothing line this level of ceremony is itself a small but telling decision, treating what you can wear with the same launch day energy as what you can listen to. Was it worth the wait? The fan verdict. So, after days of theorizing, was it worth the wait? By most accounts, the general reaction across social media was genuinely positive. Many fans expressed excitement about the collection's aesthetic direction, with plenty of praise for how different it felt from typical artist merchandise, and appreciation for the sheer production value behind the rollout itself. That said, the reaction wasn't purely one note. A noticeable slice of the online conversation reflected some lingering, good-natured wistfulness from fans who had genuinely hoped the teaser was building toward new music, and were candid about that small pang of, oh, it's merch, once the reveal landed. That reaction is worth including honestly. It's not a criticism of the collection itself so much as a reflection of how effectively the ambiguous teaser had fans hoping for multiple different outcomes at once. Even so, that undercurrent didn't seem to dampen the overall enthusiasm much. If anything, it added a layer of authenticity to the response, a fan base excited enough to want everything at once, landing on genuine appreciation for what actually arrived. Plenty of the conversation shifted quickly from "I wish this were a song" to genuine engagement with the collection itself, trying to spot favorite pieces, discussing the aesthetic direction, and treating the launch as its own worthwhile event rather than a consolation prize. That kind of quick pivot, from mild disappointment to real enthusiasm, says something about how much goodwill LLOUD had already banked with its audience heading into this drop. A brand new merchandise line from a company with no prior track record likely wouldn't have earned that same benefit of the doubt. But LLOUD's history of following through on its projects gave fans a reason to trust that even the "it's not music" outcome was still worth being excited about. The psychology of the perfect tease. It's worth stepping back to unpack why this kind of campaign works so reliably, because the strategy behind it is genuinely well understood in modern marketing. Ambiguity, used deliberately, is a powerful tool. A teaser that reveals too much gives an audience nothing to do except wait. A teaser that reveals almost nothing gives an audience a puzzle. And puzzles get solved collectively, out loud, in public, which is exactly the kind of organic engagement no paid advertising budget can fully replicate. There's also a sequencing logic at play. Starting with pure mystery, then following up days later with a name and a concrete date, keeps the audience's energy escalating in stages, rather than peaking all at once and fading. Each new piece of information becomes its own smaller moment of excitement, which is a large part of why a rollout like this can dominate conversation for the better part of a week, rather than a single afternoon. This pattern isn't unique to LLOUD either. It reflects a broader shift across music and fashion marketing towards slow burn, audience-driven hype cycles, where the anticipation itself becomes as much a part of the product experience as the eventual release. Brands and artists across the industry have increasingly leaned into exactly this kind of staged reveal, because a fan base that spent days actively theorizing arrives at launch day already emotionally invested, rather than needing to be convinced to care in the first place. There's a trust component underlying all of it, too. This kind of deliberately vague teasing only works if the audience already believes the payoff will be worth the wait. Try the same strategy with an unproven account, and ambiguity just reads as confusing rather than exciting. LLOUD could lean on genuine mystery here specifically because its audience had already learned through past projects that a LLOUD announcement is reliably worth paying attention to, a reputation that takes far longer to build than any single campaign. What this means for Lisa's next era. Zoom out. And this entire cycle, mystery, speculation, reveal, says something about where Lisa's broader creative direction seems to be heading. Choosing to build genuine anticipation around a merchandise drop, treating it with the same campaign infrastructure as a music release, reflects an artist increasingly comfortable thinking of her own name as a full lifestyle brand, not just a music act with a shop attached. That's a meaningfully different posture than simply restocking tour merchandise between albums, and it's one that requires real, ongoing creative investment to pull off convincingly. It's also worth noting, with appropriate hedging, that plenty of fans still read this entire campaign as a sign that more is coming, whether that's future seasonal LLOUD collections, additional pop-up experiences, or eventually new music altogether. None of that is confirmed. But the fact that a single merchandise teaser could generate this much genuine anticipation suggests LLOUD has built real trust with its audience. People are now willing to get excited first and ask questions later, simply because of the track record behind the name. There's also a case to be made that this kind of campaign functions as its own quiet announcement, not about a specific future project, but about the company's overall trajectory. Treating merchandise with genuine creative ambition, rather than as an afterthought, tends to be the kind of decision artists make when they're thinking several projects ahead, not just about the item currently in front of them. Whatever comes next, this cycle has effectively reset expectations for what a LLOUD announcement can mean. A coming soon post from this account is no longer just a coming soon post. It's an invitation for the entire fan base to start paying very close attention, clearing their notifications, and preparing to theorize all over again. Strip away the marketing strategy for a second, and what this whole week actually captured was something pretty simple. A fan base that cares enough to spend days theorizing over a single cryptic post, and a company that earned that kind of attention by consistently following through. That's not something you can manufacture with a big budget alone. It's built one genuine reveal at a time, one payoff at a time, until coming soon from this particular account stops meaning maybe and starts meaning clear your schedule. That kind of earned trust between a brand and its audience is genuinely rare, and it's worth appreciating on its own terms, separate from whatever the next announcement ends up being. So tell us, what did you think was coming during those days of speculation? Were you in the new music camp? Or did you call the merch drop early? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe if you want to be here for the next LLOUD countdown, whenever it drops.